Hello, ladies and jelly spoons, and welcome to 24K movies, videos, TV shows, reviews. We do it all here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome to the Game Dojo. I'm your host, the Game Ninja, and welcome to another beautiful review. I have been going over and looking for reviews for my favorite movies because when I'm laying down at night, sometimes I want to see people's interpretations and reviews of my favorite movies. And looking through everybody's reviews, I found out that I had not reviewed one of my favorite movies. Absolutely one of the best, most iconic, influential vampire movies to ever come across the scene. Wow, I couldn't even speak. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, without further ado, I give to you the greatest, if not one of the best vampire movies ever made here on 24K Reviews. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. You gonna know just by the intro. Just by the intro, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all see that? Y'all want that in? Want me to zoom in a little bit more? Zoom in a little bit more for y'all? Y'all can see that? Y'all know it's a Richard Donner production. Y'all have to know that. You have to know that. And ladies and gentlemen, Joel Schumacher. Yes, big names. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, The Lost Boys. That's right. That 1987 iconic movie. There is so much about this movie to say that is positive and amazing. The culture, the music, the feeling, the time period. It was just so fresh and modern with its take on vampirism that it was just way above its time. And some would say even now, if you release this movie even now, it would still do very well. I don't want to do a blow by blow because if you haven't seen it, but well, you know what? Screw that. This is 2024. This was 1987. If you have not seen The Lost Boys by now, spoiler alert in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. You've been warned. Okay, you got about 35, 40 years to have watched this movie, and don't feel bad. I know if you haven't, you've missed out on a great vampire film. Arguably one of the best vampire films in existence, and a lot of people go back and forth on this and that, and there are some parts about this movie that I'll get into that is pretty funny. They didn't intend it to be funny, but for me growing up it just was. Mainly Tim Capello, the saxophone guy, Tina Turner's guy. I'll just jump right into it. Okay, so he's singing a song with the saxophone player. First of all, this beefcake dude is he's like 390 pounds, slathered up in chicken grease with the ponytail slicked back with the grease in his hair, and he's singing this song. Now, for anybody who knows me, knows this is true. This is absolutely true. Anybody who knows me knows for probably about 20 years, I believed what he was singing was "Smell My Feet." No lie, no lie. My brothers, my sisters, my friends, everybody knows. And it got to the point, so much to the point that as we sang it, they believed it too. So for about 2 decades, probably about 40 to 50 of us thought he was singing "Smell My Feet." It makes no sense now looking back on it. And of course it's "I Still Believe." But if you now hear it, you can't unhear it. So if you go back and watch The Lost Boys and he's singing, listen closely, you will hear "Smell My Feet." You won't hear "I Still Believe." You're going to hear "Smell My Feet." So that's the funny part about it. That's the only funny thing I can give to this movie. So the movie starts off with a mother and her 2 children leaving from one city and going to another city, Santa Carla. Santa Carla is supposed to be a new start for them. We don't know why they're moving, but we do know there was some form of trouble. So Sam and Michael are the boys we're talking about. Patric and Corey Haim. Yes, there is both Coreys in this movie. Corey Haim and Corey Feldman are both in this movie. So That's another thing. During the 80s, you got a lot of films with the Coreys in it that were just rock awesome. Like Dream a Little Dream is another one of my favorites I have to do a review about. But The Lost Boys, and even Kiefer Sutherland, oh my God, I'm jumping forward. This is an all-star cast of people. And when I tell you that all the time, I say it for 3 reasons. When it comes to an all-star pack in a movie of casts, it's either going to be amazing or it's going to be a complete load of bullshit. And this is the latter. This was absolutely amazing. I watched this movie so much, I can pretty much quote every word verbatim, word for word. And that is just, I can watch this movie anytime, every time. And I still get caught up on whether or not they're going to get out of it. Sex appeal. Let's just talk about that. Look, it's 2024 and I know people are politically correct and everybody wants everybody to look like normal human beings, but everybody in this movie is sexy. I'm sorry. Everybody in this movie is sexy. They had the sexy on fleek. You can forget your boy Justin Timberlake bringing sexy back. They brought sexy back in this movie. Sam, Michael, the mom, Max, the store clerk, Jami Gertz, the saxophone star, Laddie, the entire vampire cast who was just long haired. Hair was just hair goals. This entire film, if you have a problem with hair, or if you feel self-offensive with hair, or you have some problems with hair, don't watch this movie because the hair goals are out of this world. Everybody in this movie is a sex symbol. Every single last person in this movie. And you're just like, everybody is beautiful. Like, where is the regular looking people in this movie? No, it's just Santa Carla, the murder capital of the world. Now, this was based off of Santa Cruz, but they couldn't really use the name, unfortunately, because they didn't want to be stigmatized as the murder capital of the world. Oddly enough, they do have a super high crime rate and super high murder rate. So I don't know why this film they thought would tarnish that reputation. If anything, it would have lifted them because people would have came to their city to see where The Lost Boys was filmed. Some people still will because they still know the Santa Cruz is Santa Carla. Yes.
Today they visit it. And they take pictures and everything where the filming was taking place, where the saxophone did his little saxophone thing.
Tim Capello, smell my feet. I'm going to stick by that. Tim Capello, smell my feet. So anyway, Sam and Michael and their mother moved to Santa Carla, and everything seems nice and fine, and everything is just frosty on the tips of the universe. But unseen by most, there is another world, a world that is just like ours, but not as brightly lit, a dark side. For any of you that is older than 30 years old, Tales from the Dark Side, that's what that was from. Bomb-ass show. I know a lot of people know Tales from the Crypts. Not too many people know about Tales from the Dark Side. Do me a favor, people. Go back, find it, stream it, download it, go to Walmart, dig through the DVD bins, watch Tales from the Dark Side. Great show. Absolutely great show. Also, coming forward, I will be doing more TV shows because a lot of people are just like, you do movies, you do video games, but you don't do any TVs, even though you say you do TV show reviews. But I have done a few TV show reviews. I did All of Us Are Dead. I did 1 or 2 in there sprinkled in.
Us.
Yeah, Last of Us. Yeah, I did some sprinkled in there. So I did the recently I just did the what's the one? Fallout. I did Fallout. So sprinkled in there is a few TV shows, ladies and gentlemen, just a few, but they're sprinkled in there. But anyway, The Lost Boys. So let me take you into one of my telling scenes from the beginning that lets you know that there is trouble in the state of Denmark. So as we're treated to the first scene in this movie, we come up to a carousel scene where you see what I was talking about. Look at the hair and look at these fine young gentlemen. Yes, that is your boy Ted from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. And look at Kiefer Sutherland rocking the faux hawk with the blonde hair. And you just see, look at, oh my God, dude. This is what vampires look like, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing, no shooting, no shade at Twilight, but these are badass guys here. And as you see this, look at this. Oh my God, dude, this is just so iconic. Look at the looks. Look at the face. Look at that hair, man. I don't even know if Kiefer Sutherland misses that hair. He said it took him forever to get the hair and makeup done for that hair, but he had to wear this for months and months, and I think it's awesome. He probably didn't like the mullet.
I guarantee he was happy as hell when he was able to grow his hair the way he wanted to grow his hair back.
Nah, this was awesome. And I saw my boy Billy Riff back there, and I saw Twisted Sister, dude from Twisted Sister. That's right. This is all good.
Mind you, all the amazing one-liners in this movie that you could quote back at any time.
So as we're treated to the first scene, we get introduced to these set of boys, and they basically just back off, and you're kind of like, for the type of group that these guys are, you're like, they backed off way too easy. And the reason why they backed off way too easy is because, well, just take a look real quick. So as the guard who choked David, Kiefer Sutherland, is walking back to his car, you hear the sound of wings and talons in the air as he's walking to his car. I don't know why this always made me think of Great Adventure's parking lot. I don't know if you've ever been to Great Adventure in New Jersey, but the parking lot kind of remind me of that parking lot. And as he's walking to his car, he looks up in the air and he sees these things flying from him. And ladies and gentlemen, this is what horror is. This is what real horror is. You know how there's intrigue, you know how there's a little bit of tension. This is what real horror is. And as you see this scene, he is ripped off the car with the door, flies in the air, and then you get the beginning of the movie. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that was the beginning. That was the beginning of our movie. And that is how you start a friggin' show. Right there. That's what I'm talking about. Modern movies have forgotten the intro. Even games nowadays, you have to play for an hour before you get the title of the scene. You need an intro. Step me into your world. Step me into what's going on. Don't just words, blam, 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 we're here. There you go. Like, step me in to the realm and the world. I like the setup in this movie because from the beginning, you automatically get a sense of what you're going to get. And as the movie goes forward, it is, I want to say it's a slow burn, but it's really not, because it hits the ground pretty quick. They're only there 2 nights before you're introduced to the main component of what's going down in the city. And it's only 1 day before the Frog Brothers, played by Corey Feldman and I forget his name. Give me 1 second. Let me get his name. Jameson Newlander. So Corey Feldman and Jameson Newlander, they're Edgar and Allan. They're the Frog Brothers. And if you get the reference, because Edgar Allan Poe. Their parents, who need no introduction because they're just sitting in the back in this movie. I'm not even quite sure they're alive. You see them twice and they're sitting in chair with shades on. Kind of like, what was that dead guy movie? They was walking him around all the time. He was just a dead body.
Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah, like Weekend at Bernie's. So I don't think they're alive. But when you're introduced to Edgar and Allan, the Frog Brothers, and they're talking to Corey Haim's part, they start to talk to him about something that's happening. And at first, you know, he doesn't take them serious, so you don't take them serious because you're seeing through the eyes of Corey Haim at the time, and you don't know what's going on, so why would you take them serious? So they try to give him horror comics to prepare him for what's going on, and of course he has no rabbit-ass idea. And soon, within, I would say 2 or 3 days, you're stepped into the full meat of the story. And he goes from thinking these guys are sniffing newsprint, as he says, hi, to I need more books. How can you help me? Can you come over to dinner? I think my mom's dating a vampire. Like, he went from switch to go, and it's all because of his brother, Michael, being suspected of being a vampire. Now, it's not confirmed until a few nights later that Michael is a vampire when Sam is taking a bath and he's left at home alone when his mom goes out on a date with her new boyfriend, Max. and Michael, for some reason, gives in to the thirst and tries to attack Sam, and the dog Nanook fights off Michael while Sam is in the tub. Sam ducks under the water, and Nanook attacks Michael. And Sam comes out of the water, and he hears it, and, well, I'll just show you a little bit of the scene. So just hold on one second. All right, so before I show you that scene, there is a scene before that that is just so friggin' badass that I have to risk probably a copyright strike to show you it. It is probably one of the most badass scenes, and yes, I include this even with Fast and the Furious, because after you guys stopped focusing on car racing and you became secret agents and X-Men and you driving Fieros in space, you forgot what your movies were about. This movie knows what it is at every moment and every turn. There is a scene where, paired perfectly with music, where David, Star, and Michael, they want to... whatever, I'm gonna reveal it. So it's revealed later on that David wanted Star to take Michael. He was supposed to be her first. But instead, David sees something in Michael and wants to turn Michael. He doesn't want Star anymore. He wants Michael. He wanted Star to bite Michael all until Michael performed what he did at this moment without giving too much away. So I'm going to give you about 9 seconds of this and then stop it because I'm already risking it, but I'm going to give you 9 seconds of it. The song is Say Hello to the Night, Lost Boys, Lost in the Shadows, and this is the setup. Let's do it. So that's a little bit of it. I'm going to show you just a little bit more, and then we're going to cut out of it because, like I said, I'm tiptoeing along the borders. But it's such an awesome scene. I had to show just a tiny bit of it. Just a tiny bit of it. It's an awesome scene. Oh my God, like, you don't understand. This part gets me so souped up. Like, this is awesome. This is an awesome scene because Michael has no fear. He doesn't have any idea who they are. He knows they're a gang and he knows they're dangerous because even Star told him, you know, they're dangerous, don't. But he likes her so much, but he will not be pushed around. And I think it's that fierceness in him that none of the other guys in David's group has that David likes. There's a fierceness to Michael that David liked. There was no fear. Like everybody else, because we're never treated to how David turned them or when he turned them. But everything he throws at Michael, Michael accepts. Like there's no, I'm not going to do it. I'm afraid to do it. It's not going to happen. Michael does it. He offers Michael wine. She tells him it's blood. Michael drinks it. They take Michael to a bridge. They tell him to climb down. Michael does it. They tell him to let go. He knows he could fall off a bridge and die. He lets go. They tell him, you don't have to beat me. You just have to keep up and race my bike. And Michael does it. There's no fear in Michael. And I think that's what David wanted more than anything. Star had a level of hesitance to her. And I think when he found Michael, he found a better vampire. Now, there has been some people who say that maybe it was a romantic link between David and Michael. I don't see that. I just see that Michael, like most vampires who have been alone for a very long time, he wanted a companion. Max, being the head vampire, was probably not the companion that David wanted. David wanted a companion. That's why he surrounds himself with a group of guys where he has. But the companionship he's looking for is somebody to challenge him, somebody not to make his life boring, kind of like Lestat did with Louis. They were looking for somebody over the centuries who could make their life worth living. Even though they're dead, they have some form of wanting to attach to life and have living. And I do believe that's what he wanted in Michael. That's the reason why he, instead of him killing Michael, he wanted Michael to become part of him. And because think about it, they never say whether or not he gave Star his blood or gave everybody else his blood. He may have bit everybody else, but they never explain whether or not he gave his blood to everybody else. But he gave his blood to Michael. That was special. Like I said, this movie is very deep in its narrative, and I like the way they go at you. But on the same token, they never really wanted Sam. At the end of the movie, Max is talking. He says, "I knew once I had Sam and Michael, you couldn't say no." But I don't think they ever wanted Sam. They wanted Michael. I don't think they ever wanted Sam. Not to say anything negative about Corey Haim. He probably would have made an awesome vampire. But there's a movie with Jamie Foxx called Day Shift or Night Shift or Night Shift or Day something.
I think it's Day Shift.
Day Shift. It came out on Netflix not too long ago, where they make reference to this movie and David and David's group, and it's pretty damn awesome because it kind of connects the fiction, the universe of how far David went, because we're only introduced to David in this one little small span here. But remember how far David's lineage goes back, even before with Max. Even to the point where at the end of this movie, their mother talks to her dad, and he says, "One thing about living in Santa Carla I never could stomach, all the damn vampires." Meaning he was fully aware of what was going on in this town, and probably what was going on with them the entire time, because he knew when to be out of the house, when to be in the house. The sharpened posts that he had that he left out and open were wooden. Like, I don't know too many people with wooden spiked fences. So I think he was a vampire hunter in his own rights when he was younger, because if you look, there's a lot of things in the house, and there's a lot of things he didn't have in the house by omission. And he was a hunter because there were a bunch of different stuffed animals all around the house. So he was some form of a hunter. There's just so much backstory into the Lost Boys. It's just such a shame that the sequels didn't share the same reverence and respect for the movie that the first one got, and that's really bad. I did see Lost Boys 3: The Thirst. It was I don't know if it
brought it back a little bit to It brought it back a little, but not enough for you to be like, wow, they really paid homage to the older one.
They talked about Sam getting turned and Michael. Do you have the other frog brother who was turned in the movie? I give them credit for trying to bridge the gap between this movie and that movie. Unfortunately, with all the talent and all the direction and directors and production that went into the 1987 original movie, it just wasn't a part of The Thirst. There was rumor of another movie where they wanted to do The Lost Girls, where it was like a female version of it. It's a shame that a lot of things didn't come to fruition with this franchise, because this franchise is something that should have been shown love. There's a lot of things in Hollywood that they sit back on and kick their heels, and then there's a lot of things they greenlit that really suck. This was one of the franchises that they should have paid attention to. And I don't care if they try to now. The time is gone and it's past. I mean, you're talking about 35 and 40 years old. It's too late for it now.
And unfortunately, it's not like they can bring Corey Haim back to doing everything, because he sadly passed away years ago.
Exactly.
So what would really be the point if you couldn't get all of the originals to be in this? And
really. So anyways, as going back to this movie, we're jumping back and forth across the narrative and the storyline. After David races Michael, they have a little fight between the two, and Michael punches David in the face. Now, like I said, this is the boundary I'm talking about. David is just like, I could kill him in a microsecond, and he has the audacity to punch me out here on a bluff overlooking a cliff, and I have all my boys around me. Like, he has no idea he's in danger. And David smiles. He smiles because there's something about Michael that just intrigues him. He's fearless. And I think it was just that moment that David was just like, yo, I need this guy. We need this guy on our team. We need to squad up with this guy. So that leads into the next set of events, which pretty much changes the movie, because once Michael is on board with David's team, he's not fully aware of what's happening to him, and Star doesn't tell him. Well, that's not true. She tries to drop hints to Michael of what's going on, but Michael's being led by little Michael. So look, let's be real. Jami Gertz, she's Star. She's throwing it at him. He's got a lot of stuff going on. He's got hormones pushing this way, that place, blood going down, blood coming up. He's Jason Patric. He's got the leather jacket. He's got the Luke Perryisms going on. He's got a lot of Dylans happening. He's, riding motorcycles, got the leather jacket. He's got the suave mustache.
He goes and gets himself a little earring.
He's got a lot going on. So let's just face it. If she was literally drawing a sign that said vampire, teeth, you're going to change and bite people, he wouldn't hear it. So it's okay. So as they get to the point where Sam realizes his brother is now a vampire, he's creature of the night, we have a division. And you really should, because if you were a brother and your brother was turning into a vampire, you're just like, he tried to kill me while I was in the bathtub. Yeah, we need to have some space, because I ain't trying to have you suck my neck meats while I'm trying to sleep.
There was a lot of, should I help my brother or should I not help my brother?
No, at that point, it was, I'm sleeping with garlic wrapped around my neck in a robe. But at the same token, he realized that his brother was still in there somewhere, and he risked his own life in helping his brother. And this is what this was a part of Max's plan the entire time. He knew if he got Michael would bite Sam. He knew it. And he knew the brother love would cause both brothers to be bitten. But instead, the opposite happened. Sam helped Michael. Star, who was only a half vampire still, decided to help with Michael too. So they decide the best thing they can possibly do is enlist the help of the Frog Brothers, because they believe that they're vampire experts. And they very well may be, but we're not led to believe that they've destroyed any vampires by the way that they're acting. Because
at least they knew of them.
They may have known of them, and let's face it, they could have destroyed vampires before, but we don't know that by their actions. Because
they did, it wasn't at the caliber of vampires they were going for these guys.
They're pretty novice. They're pretty novice. So they decide, we're going to go to the cave during daylight, and we're going to stake us some vampires, because it's that simple. And Michael is weak.
He's becoming a vampire, and not
but it's sunlight. So in sunlight, they're weak. So he tells them, I don't have the strength to protect you. So basically, you have Sam and the Frog Brothers, 3 teenage boys, going to take on David's entire group in a cave.
And the sad part of the entire debacle was they only got to kill one.
Yeah, they killed Margot. They killed my boyfriend Bill and Ted. Of all the vampires to kill, they killed my boyfriend Bill and Ted. They killed Margot.
So between 3 people, they only got one. So that's a telltale sign of what the hell they were dealing with.
True. And that's what brings the climax of the film. And I'm so glad we're here. Because now you have a problem. Because when the sun goes down, David's last words as he's in the tunnel grabbing onto Michael's feet is, "You're dead meat." He said, "Tonight." So when the sun goes down, David and everybody with him is coming for you. There's no place to hide. There's no place to run. You have to make your stand. Tonight, bodies will hit the floor. So the Frog Brothers and Sam, while Michael, remember, it's still daytime, so Michael is useless. He's sleeping. Star is useless. Laddie, the little, is that a boy or a girl? I can never tell. I think Laddie is supposed to be a boy. I think he's supposed to be a boy, but he had very long hair. And they call him Laddie. Laddie is like Scottish. They're like Laddie, little Laddie. I think Laddie is a boy. I think he's a boy. I'm pretty sure he's a boy. Doesn't really matter. Well, no, they say holy shit Attack of Eddie Munster. So it's a boy. I'm going to say a boy. If he's not, don't kill me in the comments. But I'm pretty sure Laddie's a boy. Even a Scottish, little Laddie. Yeah, so I think Laddie's a boy. We're just gonna settle on Laddie's a boy. So they go to a church, fill up on holy water. They get tons of garlic, and they're ready to make a stand. They tell the grandpa that he has a date, so he's out the house because they don't want him to get killed. And I'm pretty sure he didn't leave all the way. I'm pretty sure he stuck around, and if it got too bad, he was going to jump in and help, because he does in the end. Believe it or not, he saves the day. So it's good he didn't go on the date, because he saves the day. So basically, they wait in the house, and the sun goes down, and David and his feet claws, can I just say, you know what? I'm not going to say it. I'm going to show you what a vampire looks like. Hold on one second. Okay, so this is the part I was talking about. No disrespect to modern vampires, but you guys have friggin' forgotten what vampires looks like. The closest rendition I could say is probably Buffy, when they make them look horrific. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the TV series, they make them look horrific because they're vampires. I hate to say it, to quote a movie, John Carpenter's Vampire, they're not a bunch of guys sitting around in Euro trash wear with sleazy accents looking to seduce everybody. This is a vampire. And like I said, unfortunately, guys, because of the soundtrack during this part, I'm not going to play the soundtrack, but I want you to see what a vampire looks like. Now, he's sitting in a tree talking to David, and David wanted to show him what he was. So David got tired of basically tiptoeing around the fact. So he wanted to show Michael full well what he was and what they were, and they had to show them. Now, this is the one part of the movie where it goes from straight kind of like cool 80s significantly drama movie to legitimate horror. This part is a legitimate horror movie. Like, when you think of horror, when it comes to any kind of horror movie you've seen, this is a pretty violent, horrific scene. And from what I'm being told by some of the directors and the people in photography, that this was much more graphic scene. So this was tamed from what they filmed. This was a tamed scene from what they filmed. It was 1,000% worse. So yeah, when it comes to vampires, when it comes to actual vampires being shown in film, this is something that most of these movie companies have lost. They make them with golden skin, sparkling eyes, and they're pretty boys. You forget the fact that they're monsters. And that's the worst part. You forget the fact that they're monsters. Now, Kiefer Sutherland is a beautiful looking man. Jason Patric, beautiful looking man. Matter of fact, Billy Riff, Bill S. Preston, you can go through every single last member of David's group. They are beautiful looking men. Pause. I know what you're going to say in the comments. I am strong with mine, but I can admit when a man is beautiful. These are some beautiful looking men. But on the same token, when they change into a vampire, that is not beautiful. That is frightening. That is the stuff of nightmares. And it should be, because they're creatures of the night. They're night stalkers. They're Nosferatu. Das Vampires. They're vampires. Stop making them pretty and cute little boys that sparkle in sunlight. This is a vampire. So when I tell you and I refer to vampires and vampire movies, this is what I mean, guys. John Carpenter's Vampire also did it justice. They didn't make the vampire look like somebody you want to have dinner with, who's going to kiss you on your neck and take you out there and have a half golden baby that a werewolf wants to imprint on, which that's a little bit pedophilia. I watched the Twilight series, and I'm going to say that was wrong. An adult imprinting on a child, no. No. No shade from my Twilight fans. Look, I was with y'all. I watched the Twilight films all the way up until you gaslighted me and had an entire amazing fight. And it was amazing and wonderful. And then you was like, nope, it was just a vision. That didn't really happen. Nobody's really dead. Let's end the movie. You don't do that to your patrons. You don't do that to your fans. Have the courage of your convictions to kill off characters in your movie. Freaking Twilight, Half Moon, New Moon, Bloodlight. Whatever the hell. Just to let you guys know, that is a vampire. Whew. Sorry, took me there. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that. Anyway. Once we get to the climax at the end of this movie, it is just basically human versus vampire, life for life, and the Frog Brothers have to throw down, but Michael also has to throw down, Star also has to throw down. Believe it or not, the only thing we were cheated on that kind of made me feel a little bit taken back is the only person that didn't transform was Star. Laddie transforms. Holy crap, Attack of the Yeti Mustard. Michael transforms, Max transforms, David and all his boy transforms. Where the hell was Star? I know they say she's a half vampire, but she didn't flex not one time. Not one eye, not one Wookiee, not one fang, like nothing. And I don't know if maybe she didn't want to do the makeup or...
Maybe they didn't do it because they didn't want to ruin her pretty face.
That's a cop-out. I mean, they made Michael go half vampire right there. Look, Michael just sitting in the tree. He ain't got the fangs. They could have put the contacts in. Michael was vamped out right there. They could have made Star vamp out one time in this movie. I wanted to see Star in vampire makeup. But, as I heard before, a lot was cut from this film for content because this was supposed to be... I think they said it was going into the territory of being rated X because of the violence. And that's the copy. That's the copy I want to see. If there is somebody in the world out there that has that version, I would like to see it. I don't know if you can get in contact, inbox me. I don't know if you want people to buy plane tickets and come out to your house to watch the version. As long as you're not a real vampire and you're going to suck somebody's blood and that's the price of admission to watch that cut of Lost Boys. And I'm not saying I wouldn't be a vampire. I would, just as long as I'm not the one running around, you know what I'm saying, just like eating flies and shit. Until you change me, like I want to be a vampire, like vampire. Like, can I be one of y'all? Can I be down? But I don't want to be like one of the ones like eating roaches and flies and shit, and you know, I'm just following around driving cars and you know what I'm saying, cleaning stuff with my ear falling off and shit like that. I don't want to be one of them. No. Anyways, there is an awesome fight scene at the end of this movie where Michael takes on David. And there is a song that plays. The song plays throughout this movie a bunch of different times. Cry Little Sister. At first, I thought it was Phil Collins because it has his voice. It is an iconic sound. It has an amazing bass line. The soundtrack is phenomenal in this movie. And when Sam and Michael fight each other, let me just see if I can do a little face-off for you guys. Give me one. Okay, so before I show you the face-off, I had to pause a scene where my boy from Twisted Sister was vamped out at the fire, where they showed Michael what he was. Tell me he does not look like The Exorcist, dude. This is what I'm talking about when I say amazing makeup. Look at this. Look at that. That is the stuff of nightmares, man. Look at that. Can y'all see that? Look at that face. Look at that face. Look at that face. Oh my god, dude. That shit is frightening. That shit is frightening. Oh my god, that is the stuff of nightmares. Oh my. Okay, so this is the face-off that I was talking about at the end of the movie. I'm gonna give y'all a little bit of it. It is just badass when it comes to badass. And I love the fact that Michael, throughout the movie, you didn't really see anything from him, but it's not one of those things where somebody has to teach you how to be a vampire. it's just turned on in you. And this is, just watch.
You afraid to face me, David? Huh?
Tried to make you immortal.
You tried to make me a killer!
You are a killer.
Oh my God, I love this movie. You have no idea how badass this movie was, and it came out at a time that they could not have expected the badassery that this movie has. This is a movie for people who like movies. Like, if you like horror, if you like action, if you like a good movie, you owe it to yourself to watch The Lost Boys, the original one. This is the remastered director's cut that I have, because I owed it to myself to get the right version that I wanted. I have 3 different versions of this, and I will. I wish I could show you the fight scene in its entirety, because David is just playing with Michael. Even though Michael and his brother had killed one of his friends, one of David's group, and they've killed possibly other of his friends in the house, David at this point is still just playing a game. If he wanted to be serious with Michael, he could have killed him, taken his head off, but he's still playing a game. He's laughing, he's taunting him. Like, it's not serious to him. And that's the crazy part, because Michael is 100% serious. Michael is not playing. Michael is like, if I get a hold of you, I'm gonna take your friggin' head off, man. But David is playing. And I think he underestimated the strength of Michael. The same thing that he wanted in Michael to become a vampire, he underestimated in Michael fighting him. And I really think he thought he was going to overpower him. And unfortunately, he did not, because... And honestly, okay, so here's where we sit. And the community is split. A lot of people think David died. I don't think David died, because he was thrown on antlers. Antlers are not wood. Even though they went through the center of his heart, he did not... Okay, so this is why I say David is not dead. Michael's grandpa, they call him Dab, when he comes through the wall with the gigantic machine and he shoots the wooden fence stake through Max's chest, Max explodes like vampires do when they get hit with wood. They explode. David, when he's thrown onto the antlers, he doesn't explode. He sits there, and you hear him say no, and you see him turn his face back and forth, and then you see his face as like a boy, as like a little boy, but you don't see him dead. Now, it may have been that Max the head vampire being killed David, because you destroy the head vampire, the rest of them go back to normal, which means he's just a boy who was just stabbed through the chest on a deer antler. That is true. But as I said, in the Jamie Foxx movie, they allude to the fact that David went on after this point, and David had to be put down. They allude to that. And I like that, because that makes the theory that David did not die this night. But then that also speaks to volumes to what happened after this night, because in The Lost Boys The Thirst 3, they talk about how Sam got turned. So I'm thinking that theory is true. I'm thinking that David did not die this night. I'm thinking he did leave the house and later on attacked Sam and bit Sam. It makes sense. Then again, him dying makes sense. But that's neither here nor there. So after everything is over and the dust settles, the grandpa walks in after checking to make sure everybody is okay. Michael turns back to normal. Star, she's always been normal. We never see her vamp out. I don't think she was half vampire. I think he gave her V8 juice, or maybe he gave her like some tomato sauce or some clamato. I don't think she was ever a vampire. I think he lied to her, because we never see her change once. Matter of fact, even when they attack Max, Mike does a better job than Star does. So I don't think Star was a vampire. I don't even think she was half. But then again, she did fly up to the window in that one part. So I'd have to say, yeah. She flew up to the window, so she had to be something at least to fly up to the window. Whatever. Anyways, Dad walks over. He opens the refrigerator. He pulls out one of his root beers. And like I said before, there's one thing about living in Santa Carla I never could stomach. All the damn vampires. And then they fade to black. Do, 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 do. People are strange when you're a stranger. Faces look ugly when you're around. Windows and wickets when you're unwanted. Streets around even when you're down. When you're strange. That's the same. So basically the movie ends with the same song that opens it in the beginning. Because When You're Strange is the opening montage when the movie begins. This is something that I wish more movies did. They paid attention to their intro as well as their outro. Because the movie brings you in with that song and it leads you out with the same exact song. This is an opening and a finishing. If there were no more movies after that, it would still be a great movie. And it still is a great movie. Like I said, unfortunately, I wish there was as much attention paid to the sequels as the first movie. But we have the first movie to draw from, and I am fine with it. I am absolutely fine with it. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, what do we give The Lost Boys on our scale of awesomeness here in the Game Dojo? No surprise, triple platinum. All across the board, triple platinum. There are parts of this movie that anybody can pick apart, because you can pick apart anything in a movie. But when it comes to a movie being a movie, knowing it's a movie, knowing what it does, doing it right, achieving it, storyline, elements of storyline, acting, development, intrigue, suspense, innovation, everything in this movie is done right. This is what you call a meal done right. And this movie is one of my favorite. This movie is literally one of my favorites. It has been since the first time I saw it back in 1987, and it is in 2024. This movie, triple platinum, The Lost Boys, 1987. This is a movie done right. One of the few in the years that I've been alive, in the decades, the many decades I've been alive. This is one of the movies that is done correctly. And I have to give my hat off to Joel Schumacher. I have to give my hat off to Richard Donner, who did some of my favorite movies. I did love the Lethal Weapon movies as well, and Schumacher has done so. See, I know their work. When you know somebody's work, you can pretty much trust the type of movie that you're going to be sitting down and watching. Very, very few times have somebody that you've trusted their work lost the quality. M. Night Shyamalan. Yeah. So this movie sets the tone for what a vampire movie should be, what a good movie should be, what an action movie should be, what a suspense movie should be, what a thriller should be, what an action movie should be, what a comedy movie should be, and a comedy thriller. This movie has it all. And I love it. I absolutely love it. I would like to see the uncensored version that they have out there that was much more violent than this. Here's hoping, but let's just say for decades we're not gonna see it. If it was gonna happen, it would have happened before now with the world of leaks. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, of the only people that I see doing movie reviews, I had to do this. This is justice. This is justice. This is movie justice. And I'm surprised not many more people are doing this. I like CinemaSins. I like You, Me, the movies. I like Cat Watches Horror. I like all the people that watch movies, and you guys are great. This is my shout out to you guys. please watch The Lost Boys. Go out there, watch The Lost Boys, and let me know what your take on it is. We're different in age, we're different in bringing and upbacks. I would love to see your take and your thoughts on these things. CinemaSins did it, but CinemaSins also did a lot of great things about this movie, and I liked it. There's things he hated, things he loved, things he picked apart, but I loved what he loved about it. I loved what he hated about it too, but I loved it all around. But I would love to know other people's take on it. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from the Game Dojo, this triple platinum movie, I say like it, buy it. If you have it on 4K, Blu-ray, or DVD, pull it out of the shelves, watch it. This movie never gets old. It stands the test of time. And if you don't have it, run out to your local Walmart or stream it. I'm quite sure it's on a bunch of different streaming services. If not, borrow it, download it, go to P2P, torrent it, stream it. There's a billion different ways to watch this movie, but if you've never seen it by now, you're doing yourself a disservice, especially if you're a horror fanatic. You're doing yourself a huge disservice. This is what a vampire movie is supposed to be, and this should be the gold standard of what a movie should be nowadays when it comes to vampire movies. I'm sick of seeing the horribleness of the state of affairs when it comes to what passes as a movie nowadays. Go back, revisit some of the older movies. You will learn what cinema was and what it used to be. All the pain and aside that the actors went through, unfortunately. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, sit back, get your bag of snacks. I got some strawberry Hershey's Kisses. I didn't even know they had these things. These things are delicious. I'm gonna have to rewatch The Lost Boys now. Literally watching it struck so much in me. I'm gonna have to rewatch this, Joel. From the Game Dojo, I'm your host, the Game Ninja. Keep watching, keep liking, and keep loving. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm out of here.